Actually,
All right, welcome everybody. Good evening. It's Sunday night class where we do the Life Mastery Path discussions. And tonight, now some of you joined in, excited for the topic. Basically, we're going into ascension, out-of-body experiences, liberation, the highest states that at least I know of, but I've done a lot of studying, a lot of research over the years. So I'm going to offer what I believe are some of the highest states that human beings can experience. And encourage you that even though these experiences, hello Kathleen, welcome everybody who's joined in, even though these experiences can be quite lofty and make us feel like underachievers, I assure you there are practical applications to talking about these topics. So when we talk about life mastery, we're talking about success in every aspect of our life. And I always encourage you prioritize spirituality first. Right. Christ said it beautifully, seek you the kingdom of heaven and all its righteousness, and all things are added on to you. The great masters all teach, put both eyes on God. You put all your attention on God, right? You just always go to the highest. You can call God whatever you want. Hey, Fred, welcome. Good to see you again. So yeah, diving into the highest possible experiences that it seems that human beings can tap into. And we use words like ascension, out of body experience. But in the life mastery model, my experience of this is if we're going to talk about really deep levels of spirituality, then are these experiences that we need to have someday. And let me just encourage before I dive into this, the enlightenment process can be considered a process, but it could also be considered an experience. And they have debates about that. Well, when you're enlightened, you have a certain experience. And actually, a lot of the Zen masters will tell you it's no different than this experience. Enlightenment is no different than your everyday regular waking consciousness. So what's so special about it? And they'll say nothing. It's nothing special. It's just here. It's just being here now. When you're totally here now, you experience something that most people don't experience because what's here now is divine consciousness. But most of us are so caught up in our mind and in the past and the future, we're not really perceiving what's here now. So while you might say what we're going to talk about tonight are experiences you could have, it also is very practical because it points to what this very moment can be once we grasp these topics. So tonight we're going to go into some cosmic conscious discussions, the topic of samadhi, and generally the idea of moksha or liberation. But let's mostly focus, let's get started with samadhi and cosmic consciousness. And then, of course, out of body experience relates to this in some way. So you don't have to leave your body to have some of these experiences. But the truth is, some of these experiences we're going to talk about, you cannot have in a body. So let's talk about cosmic consciousness to get started. The first thing to realize is you're not a body, for starters, right? So the thing to acknowledge and, take what you like, leave what you don't. You don't have to believe everything here, but let's start with one fundamental premise. You're a spiritual being having a human experience. Right. So you're not a body. So if we're going to talk about ascension, because people talk about that in the New Age community, like we're going to ascend. Who's going to ascend? Is it your body that's going to ascend? Like if you rise up to heaven or there's the rapture, and I'm speaking loosely here, right? If there's some grand big thing that can happen for a human being that we're all hoping for, aside from death, right? A lot of people wish for death because maybe then you get to go to heaven. A Course in Miracles says death never accomplished anything. Nothing's accomplished through death. So it's not waiting till your body dies to have the type of experiences we're talking about. First is to realize you're a spiritual being right here now. Therefore, there's really nothing to accomplish if you're 100% here now. But if we're going to talk about ascension or cosmic conscious experiences, it's important to realize it's not your body that ascends. In A Course in Miracles, the body cannot be enlightened. It's just too dense. Spirit already is enlightened. It doesn't need to be healed or corrected or enlightened. It already is light. You already are light. What needs enlightenment is actually the mind. And what's the fundamental distinction we want to make? The mind can say, I am the body, and everything that goes with that. But if you're really interested in these topics, perhaps the first thing to start doing is saying, who am I? And then just cut to the chase, because the great masters will tell you this. You're not a body, you're a spiritual being. In A Course in Miracles, thinking you're a body is in the category of level confusion. There's two levels, there's spirit, there's body. And basically, when the spirit believes it's the body, It thinks it is a certain size, right? You think you're about 5 to 6 feet tall or whatever, right? If they say, how tall are you? You could answer. But what if you're not a body? In Zen, they say, what was your original face before you were born? Before you had this body, what did your face look like? Right. So the question really, again, is are you a physical being or are you a spiritual being? Once you acknowledge you're a spiritual being, then I would encourage you to consider the question. Welcome, Stephen. Welcome, everybody. Going into cosmic conscious discussions tonight. So are you a body or are you spirit? You're spirit. How big is spirit? In the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, he talks about the sage Patanjali. Nobody knows exactly who that was, but some very wise person wrote this book. And in chapter 3 of 4 chapters, this was called Siddhi Pod. Siddhis are yogic powers. Pod just means chapter. So the 3rd chapter of the Yoga Sutras is based on yogic powers. All of those powers are rooted in what's called sanyam or intense concentration, but let's just talk about the 2 that are really relevant here. The Yoga Sutras say you can be as small as an atom or as big as the universe. That's one of the powers you have. When I first read that, I was in college as a religion major, and I said, that's crazy. How yogis can make their bodies as small as an atom? What is that movie, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? Is it like you shrink your body down that small? What's the point of that, spiritually speaking? And then it says, and you can be as big as the universe. But wait, we're becoming like giants, bigger than planets? Eventually I caught on, oh, there. So I just dismissed these powers as not real. They are real, but they're talking about spirit, not body. The Yoga Sutras are very clear that we're not looking for these powers. It's not the goal to be able to have clairvoyant visions and whatnot. They just happen along the way as you transition your consciousness from body level identification to spirit level identification. The point is, because you're not a body, you can leave your body. I used to teach workshops a lot, especially in my early 20s, because I was projecting a lot then, on out-of-body travel. And I would always say in these classes, nobody ever said you have to be in your body 24/7. So as a way to start to understand how big consciousness can be in relationship to a cosmic conscious experience, right now put all of your attention on one very, very small something. For instance, here's a new rot ring pen. I like pens. Just focus on the very tip of the pen. Just focus right on this tip. Narrow your consciousness down just to a tiny little pixel on the screen. Right, you can do that. You narrowed your consciousness. Now just do that to your body. Focus just like on the tip of your pinky or something. Or actually focus on something you don't like, which is a fun little thing. Look at a pimple or something, or like a mole. Go really close to that. And look how you might judge yourself. If you put all your attention on a problem, it seems like a serious problem. But pull back your whole body, and that mole or pimple is really not such a big deal. Now take the same consciousness that can get very small and focus on minuscule things and get neurotic about minuscule things. Take that same consciousness and expand it big to be aware of the whole room right now. Just go peripheral. Be aware of the walls, the floor, the ceiling. Now, how big are you? You are a consciousness. Spirit is consciousness. You can be as small as an atom, which we've kind of demonstrated here. Go into a scanning electron microscope. You can look down at those smallest little things, but technically when out of your body, you could condense your consciousness down that small and look at atoms. You could also expand so big that you become larger than the physical universe. Is that true? Like, have human beings had that experience? The answer is yes. And it's worth noting because it changes your entire perspective on life. There's a book called Cosmic Consciousness by Richard Maurice Buck or Buke. I've never heard his name pronounced, so I need to look it up because I always say that when I mention this book. Richard Maurice Buck or Buke, B-U-C-K-E. The book is called Cosmic Consciousness. He talks about going from individualized consciousness where you're conscious, not even individualized, just to say conscious. So dogs, cats, animals, plants, you could even say rocks and trees. It's all conscious, but it's not self-conscious. Human beings are self-conscious. You might say that's an evolution. We went from being conscious, like a horse, to being self-conscious like a human being, which can make you remarkably neurotic because you feel quite separate from the universe. But the teachings usually say it's only the human being that can achieve enlightenment in one way, because it's the only human being who really wants to. Animals and plants are just kind of doing their own thing, but they don't have that individual sense of self that says, what's going on here? Who am I? Right? Dogs are just busy being dogs. They're not contemplating where they came from or where they go after death. Right? We know the larger primates, like the gorillas, they don't know. They taught there was some gorilla, I forget the gorilla's name. They taught this gorilla sign language, and they taught it about death. They actually first taught it patterns, like 1, 2, 3, right? This, birth, life, death. And then they showed the gorilla, here's birth, here's life, here's death. Then they showed a picture of gorillas, born, living, die. That gorilla became this is very sad when you see this video, but it's so insightful. So you can Google it, like gorilla talk about death. He gets horribly depressed after this because they taught him something that's not true to his nature. So the teaching, acknowledging we're spiritual beings, is we don't die, right? Spirit is this immortal, eternal beingness. Your consciousness is immortal and eternal. So again, nothing is accomplished by death. And the teachings are, there really is no death. Your body, when it returns to the earth, your car doesn't die, right? It just returns the constituent elements back into the earth. And you as spirit don't die, you just move on. So there really is no death. Anyway, the book Cosmic Consciousness takes us from conscious, just like any animal or plant is, to self-conscious, like a human being is. So we can teach other high primates perhaps to realize like you exist. You are an individual separate self. That's one of the most horrible teachings, though, because you identify with the body and you feel separate from the universe. In A Course in Miracles, one problem, one solution. One problem, you feel separate from your source. Solution, find oneness with your source again. To find oneness with source is to find oneness with your own consciousness. As you find that, you say, who am I? Okay, I'm not a body, I'm a spiritual being. And we'll work to move into that tonight. But when we talk about cosmic consciousness, we're going from the evolution of being conscious to being self-conscious to being cosmically conscious. In that book, by Richard Maurice book, he talks about there's actually very few people in all of human history, and he has a list. I don't think it's an exhaustive list, but he made a list of all the people, which is pretty small, relatively speaking, who have achieved this state. But it's worth considering. So is it valuable? Is this something to strive for? If you're striving for a future experience, in some ways, the teaching is no, not worth it. Don't wait for something to happen because that takes you out of the present moment where your spirit is, where you are as spirit. So don't try to achieve what we're talking about here, but when you go into samadhi meditation, you're naturally moving in this direction. So cosmic consciousness, basically, I know of, I'm sure there's others, and it's humbling to put myself in this category, but I know of 3 places that this is written about. The Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, who's considered the individual soul, is talking to Krishna, who's considered God. And Arjuna says, can you show me who you really are? Right? It's like the soul saying to God, show me your true form. And Krishna says, you cannot see me with your 2 physical eyes, but I will give you a divine eye so you can see me, so you can know me. And he actually, when he does that, he says, because you are my friend, which is, if there's a formula here, because Arjuna was the friend of God, a devotee of God, he was granted this cosmic vision. The other place that, and I can read to you the poem that's in Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. So it's chapter 11 in the Bhagavad Gita. I'm not going to read that tonight. It's very much in the Hindu tradition where you're talking about Krishna as a god with multiple fangs and heads, and it's written in a certain mythological context. But I do believe it was a legitimate cosmic conscious experience that Arjuna had in the Bhagavad Gita. That's chapter 11. Also in Paramahansa Yogananda's Autobiography of a Yogi, he writes a poem about samadhi. He's writing about the type of samadhi in one aspect of it called Virat Swarup. Virat Swarup in Sanskrit refers to the glimpse or the vision of the cosmic form. Right? And again, like, why is this valuable? Like, why are we spending time talking about becoming as big as the universe, experiencing the nature of God manifest in infinity? There's source beyond form, but then there's this infinite universe. And there is a consciousness, you call that God, that's aware of this whole thing. The question is, can you experience that? And why would you want to? The practical nature of this is I'll lead you on a meditation tonight. It really puts things into perspective because you end up saying, All right, I'm aware of planets and galaxies. I'm aware of supernovas and black holes. At some point in the meditation, I'm going to say to you, and what are you worrying about? We're worrying about such teeny little things compared to those who are cosmically conscious. So there's a practical nature to the cosmic conscious discussion where we're not saying eventually you'll have that and then you'll be okay. Then you'll be enlightened. I do believe cosmic consciousness is part of the enlightenment process. But again, to strive for something keeps you away from what you're looking for, which is the spirit that you are now that can have that experience. So I'll take you in a meditation that helps you to get that. But before we do, I'll read to you Autobiography of a Yogi, Yogananda's poem on samadhi in the cosmic conscious Bharat Swarup experience. And the other place is actually in my book, the Anahat meditation system, where I had, to a degree, a glimpse of this experience. In the Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna is given this vision, eventually he says to Krishna, I can't take it anymore. Please just let's go back to normal. It's too much. It's just way too much. We are so used to being kind of, it seems like contained in a body as a body. You literally feel like you're 5 or 6 feet tall. You feel like you're 100 something pounds. You are the consciousness that can be bigger than galaxies. And to experience that for the first time can be absolutely terrifying. So what happened to me, I was meditating back in 1997, 1998. I was about 25, 26 years old. I was teaching a lot of out-of-body travel stuff. So we'll put it into context that I was very proficient at leaving my body. And one of the things that starts happening that I'll encourage tonight is the third eye starts to open at some point. It's a portal. And when that opens, you'll literally be able to just sit in a chair, meditation, lying in bed, and you'll see the room, but not with your two physical eyes. You'll literally be able to see what's there with your third eye. There's literally a portal that opens. You might see the physical world right there. You might see beyond it into what they call the etheric plane, which is like the template, the energetic grid, just one octave, if you will, above the physical. So I've had many experiences with that opening, but this time I was in my hypnotherapy recliner, similar to that one, in my first office in Massachusetts. And after seeing a client or something, I went into the recliner to rest and I closed my eyes. I go really deep. And again, I'm giving you the imagery so you can kind of hear what these experiences are like, but also what we dwell upon, we become, right? Like if you focus on the stuff, you start having it. So start thinking about like a third eye opening, just thinking about it helps. When I taught out of body travel a lot, one of the best techniques to leave your body is just think about it, read books on it, read books about it, not to learn techniques, that's secondary, just put your attention on the topic, right? It's one of the best ways to start to have the experience. So the topic is imagine you're a spiritual being, third eye opens, you move up into spirit, and you can leave your body. And if you do it through the higher chakras, it's more in the realm of soul travel. That's what's going to happen with cosmic consciousness. You as soul leave the body, and then you as soul can become infinitely huge. So I'm in my recliner meditating, third eye opens, and I can see into the room, and this beautiful angelic woman, it's hard to have words to describe, but just imagine this angelic female presence walking, like kind of floating right over to me, touched me right here in the forehead. It was like a tap. And then my being, like with my astral body, because it was not just consciousness, it was also the subtle body, flipped backwards like a somersault out of my body because the chair was by the wall. I flipped through the wall. So you can go through walls in case you don't know that. As a spiritual being, you can move through matter. So I'm floating about, 1 story above the ground. It was on the second floor. So I'm probably, I don't know, it seemed like 20 feet above the ground. I'm programmed to be out of my body and what to do when out of the body. So I immediately knew the first programming is when you're out of your body, think of something besides your body. Don't go, oh, I'm out of my body. Where's my body? You'll get sucked right back into it. So you want to have a target destination when you get out of your body. At that moment, I said, all right, I got to get away from the building, away from my body. I'm going to move over to the Vietnamese restaurant down the street. And I tried to move, but I wasn't moving, which is odd because usually, where you will to go is where you go, but I couldn't move. So I said, all right, let me go somewhere else beyond this time space so I could get away from here. So I thought of a friend. One of the best things you can do when you're out of your body is don't try to go to a place go to a person because there's strong emotional, energetic connection between you and others. So I thought of a friend of mine. I said, okay, Brian, but I didn't move. I'm like, that usually works. Then I remembered a teaching, which is another story, but I was basically told out of my body by a great master. It's another story, but he said, why are you not seeking God? You should only be seeking the highest. If you're flying out of your body, you should only be seeking the highest. I said, and that clicked in. I was like, all right, so this is my advice. If you ever find yourself out of your body, call her whatever you want, but I just said, God. Like, all you have to do is ask, just God. You can do it right now. Don't think the invitation isn't accepted. Might not meet you on the terms you wanted to, might not look or sound the way you wanted to, but trust the invitation is always accepted. So I said, God. At that moment, not that I haven't done this before, but this is the first time I experienced a cosmic conscious experience. The whole I just started flying up. I started just ascending higher, higher, faster, faster. My sense of etheric body dropped away, so it's just my consciousness. As I kept going higher, it kept getting bigger and bigger. The earth dropped away. I could literally see that fading. Looking forward, there were just like planets, galaxies. It just kept getting bigger, 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 bigger beyond words. And at some point, I'm like, enough, enough, enough. And then it just shrunk back in and came back to body consciousness. I'm like, I've studied this. I think I know what just happened, but I didn't actually have the category for it. It's when I moved to India and I was living in the Himalayas. I was studying with some great masters, literally in the Himalayas. And I said, all right, I had this experience. I know it's written of, a couple other places, but I really haven't heard of this much. What was that? And yeah, this is a great teacher in India. He said, oh, that's Bharat Swarup. That's the vision of the cosmic self. Okay, here is Yogananda's version of this, and you're welcome to have eyes open or closed. Um, so there, we're going to teachings on samadhi tonight a little bit. There's samadhi refers to oneness with absolute bliss consciousness. Samadhi is when you and the soul are one with your source. You're literally completely aware of spirit, and in deep samadhi, your body and mind drop away. Time and space drop away. So first, Yogananda is experiencing that, where it's basically, you might say, the emptiness of soul, just the pure consciousness of spirit. All there is being. No light, no sound, no time, no space. And it's hard for people to grasp that because you need to use imagination to think of something. But by definition, this state of samadhi is beyond imagination because the word nirvikalp, samadhi, literally means without imagination, but without image. No image of forms, no image of your body. So in the deepest samadhi, there's really only you as spirit, you as soul. You're aware of your absolute essence, which is one with the infinite consciousness. But then he goes on to start talking about the cosmic vision that can happen once you're rooted in spirit and you ascend or you transcend, whatever you want to call it. So tonight, again, we're talking about out-of-body experiences, about liberation. Yogananda did who's I'm going to read to you in a moment, he did a beautiful translation of Omar Khayyam's Rubaiyat, the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. So if you ever want to read, if you're familiar with the Rubaiyat, read Yogananda's translation and his commentary on it. Yogananda says in that book, until he learned to leave his body consciously and voluntarily, he couldn't be called a fully liberated soul. The term in Sanskrit is jivana mukta, a fully liberated soul. And Yogananda does say the ability to leave your body is part of that. If not, you're not totally free. However, to make us feel better, us normal mortals to feel better about this, the Buddha was really not into out-of-body travel. He had done it. He realized, okay, I could escape, I could fly, I could have these experiences, but I still have to come back to the human. So Buddhist enlightenment process is deeper than just flying around the universe. But because it's a fun topic, let's stick with that for a little longer. Okay, so basically, the ability to go into deep samadhi meditation where you're totally one with your soul, and then to, in a sense, separate, it's probably the best word, separate from your body, then you're free to fly and to travel. So anyway, you can take this in with eyes open or closed. He called the poem Samadhi. Vanished the veils of light and shade, lifted every vapor of sorrow. Sailed away all dawns of fleeting joy, gone the dim sensory mirage, love, hate, health, disease, life, death, perished these false shadows on the screen of duality, The storm of Maya stilled by magic wand of intuition deep. Past, present, future, no more for me, but ever-present all-flowing I everywhere, planets, stars, stardust, earth, volcanic bursts of doomsday cataclysms, creation's molding furnace, glaciers of silent X-rays, burning electron floods, thoughts of all men, past, present, to come, every blade of grass, myself, mankind, each particle of universal dust, anger, greed, good, bad, salvation, lust, I swallowed, transmuted all into a vast ocean of blood of my one own being, smoldering joy off-puffed by meditation, blinding my tearful eyes, burst into immortal flames of bliss, consumed my tears, my frame, my all. Thou art I am thou, knowing, knower, known as one, tranquil, unbroken thrill, eternally living, ever new peace, enjoyable beyond imagination of expectancy, samadhi bliss, not an unconscious state or mental chloroform without willful return. Samadhi but extends my conscious realm beyond limits of the mortal frame to farthest boundary of eternity, where I, the cosmic sea, watch the little ego floating in capital M, me. Mobile murmurs of atoms are heard, the dark earth, mountains, vales, low, molten liquid, flowing seas change into vapors of nebulae. Om blows upon vapors, opening wondrously their valves. Oceans stand revealed, shining electrons, till at the last sound of the cosmic drum, which is Om, vanish the grosser lights into eternal rays of all-pervading bliss. From joy I came, for joy I live, in sacred joy I melt. Ocean of mind, I drink all creation's waves. Four veils of solid liquid vapor light, lift aright, I in everything enter the great myself. Gone forever, fitful, flickering shadows of mortal memory. Spotless is my mental sky, below, ahead, and high above. Eternity and I, one united ray, a tiny bubble of laughter, I am become the sea of mirth itself. So, we all have something to to look forward to. Uh, so Samadhi, when we talk about planets, galaxies, we're talking about oneness with the cosmic form, where your consciousness can become infinitely big. And it takes, as I can understand, gather information on these ideas, it takes training. When Yogananda wanted this experience, he was begging his guru for it. His guru kept saying, you're not ready, keep meditating. You're not ready, keep meditating. Finally, after years of meditation, or however long he was begging for months, but hours and hours a day of meditating, he finally was ready for the experience, because it is, at first, for people who just leave their body, terrifying, because you might not be ready for it. You don't quite know, right? It's like, oh my God, I'm not in a body. What's happening? Am I dead? It's like, no, but you end up snapping back pretty quickly if you're scared. So as we're opening to these topics, the first main thing to remember is there's nothing to be afraid of. In fact, there's a formula for how this stuff works. How do we achieve these states? I'll give you some tips, then I'll take it on meditation. One, if you want to start achieving these higher states, you meditate basically in the third eye region. Not just your forehead, not just the inside of your forehead. Start putting your attention towards the crown as well. Eyes closed, chin is level, eyes focus up. Be aware, gently, be aware of the space of consciousness. You can do it right now. Your head is like a sphere, but your consciousness is a sphere that's actually, you might say, bigger than your head. You might think you're in a body, but if you close your eyes and feel the sphere of your consciousness, the body is actually in you. You're not in a body, the body is in you. Instead of thinking you are a body, float up into the space of pure consciousness in your head. So that's tip number one. It's super simple, and it's what the yogis call or others as well, call the direct path. You don't need to go to ashrams and monasteries or go to Egypt or go to India. Close your eyes and put your attention on pure consciousness, because ascension can never be found on the physical plane, right? Cosmic consciousness, enlightenment, out-of-body travel. You can't go somewhere with your body to achieve it. You might say, I'm going to go to India so I can learn meditation. You don't have to. We have YouTube now. We have Zoom, right? You can hear deep teachings right in your own home. So you don't have to go anywhere. And again, it's not time-based. It's not eventually you'll have the experience. All you have to do is keep putting your attention on consciousness. Now, there's ways to keep deepening that meditation, but they say that's tip one. Um, Let's talk about stages about it, out-of-body travel briefly to help to encourage you of what to do there for some tips. Then I'll take on another guided meditation. To start having out-of-body experiences, number one, want to carve out some time because it usually happens at night and you might not sleep so well. So it's good to, consider this can start messing up your sleep schedule. Some of the best time to project is actually like 3 in the morning. If you ever have that natural waking up at 3, for whatever reason that happens. People have their theories, but a lot of us wake up at like the middle of the night, go to the bathroom, wash your face, go meditate on the higher chakra regions, focus on pure consciousness. And then I could give you other techniques, but basically, go lie down back into bed, but focus in that higher space. Stage one of an out-of-body experience is called body asleep, mind awake. You start to learn to keep your body asleep while your consciousness is totally awake. We can practice that with hypnosis, right? We do it at our school. I teach this stuff as we get into the transpersonal nature of the school. But essentially, body asleep, mind awake. Learn to hover in the hypnagogic state. You're half awake, half asleep. So when you're falling asleep at night, practice just a few extra minutes staying conscious at the moment right before like your body's asleep. I often will find, like if my partner and I are meditating in the same room, if I'm lying down, my body will start falling asleep, but I'm conscious and I'll notice it actually snores. And I'm totally conscious that it just went into sleep time breathing mode. And then she's like, were you sleeping? I'm like, no, no, I heard my snoring just like you did. Right? I'm fully conscious while the body is falling asleep. That takes some practice. And learning more about samadhi meditation absolutely helps that. So I'll share as much as I can tonight. So step one, practice body asleep, mind awake. When you're waking up in the morning, do the same thing. Don't just rush out of bed right away. If you wake up at 3 in the morning, practice your body going to sleep while you stay conscious. Binaural beats, isochronic tones, solfeggio tones, you can check that stuff out on YouTube. That could all help with hemispheric synchronization. If you listen to a binaural beat that induces theta or delta level consciousness, it will help to increase the probability of leaving your body. So step one is basically keeping the body profoundly relaxed to the point of sleep, but staying conscious in that experience. While I am spirit and my body is asleep. Even at that stage, step one, you won't be able to just float right out. You're still going to feel locked in. Stage two is the vibrational state. It's rather hard to achieve, but there are definitely tips for every day that are extremely practical. Even though we talk about some future achievement, it's not really about that. It's every day purifying your blockages, clearing your stuff, dissolving your ego, dissolving the personal self. To get to the vibrational state, you have to be vibrating at a very high frequency. Honestly, meat, no judgment, but meat causes a Kundalini sludge effect. I studied with a great doctor, Dr. Gabriel Cousins, during my Chinese medical school days, and he founded the Kundalini Crisis Centers, I remember, but one of his books called Spiritual Nutrition and the Rainbow Diet is all about eating live foods and eating in ways that open the chakras to increase the vibratory frequency of your being, basically. So some of the tips for what to do to increase your vibration besides meditation, eating right, getting out in nature, getting sunlight, doing healthy things. Number one, never suppress an emotion again. If you want to start having out-of-body experiences, never suppress your emotions. If you do it through drugs, alcohol, blatant suppression, tensing your body, willing feelings away, going into denial, you are splitting your psyche. And it's much more detrimental than people realize. There's so much suffering that comes from any degree of split mind. Because while part of you is trying to be happy, part of you is not okay. Part of you is miserable, the part that was pushed down. When you do that, you're blocking the flow of the life force energy in the chakra system. Every time you suppress an emotion, you're blocking the vibrations that are there before an out-of-body experience. So then therefore we have to know what to do with our emotions. But number one, don't push them down anymore. Number two, don't act out on them. When you're angry, don't start screaming and yelling. When you're sad, don't go do something to make the sadness better. Every time you let an emotion motivate a behavior, it just keeps the emotion there. Every time I'm angry, I yell at someone. Well, that becomes a conditioned response. Got angry, yell. Got angry, yell. Sad, eat a Twinkie. Sad, eat a Twinkie. It just keeps becoming the same pattern. Don't act out on this stuff. The teachings from deep yogic philosophy are basically you relax, you breathe, you feel. Relax, breathe, and feel. Just allow emotion to be there and it purifies itself. This isn't a class on that, but there's plenty of teachings out there now about how to effectively deal with emotions. The point is, learn how to effectively deal with emotion so you're liberating your heart from pain. Like I said, practical things. Being as big as the universe, I don't know, how's that going to pay the bills? How's that going to make your relationship better with your spouse? But that you don't have anger in your heart and you got a promotion at your job and your spouse loves you more, that's practical, that's beneficial. Clear the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. And the formula for ascension, we haven't got into the beyond time and space ascension discussion yet. We're only on cosmic consciousness. But to move into the highest state, it has to be love. It's only love. When you feel the merging into God beyond the beyond, which again, we haven't really talked about yet, the deepest ascension word the deepest use of the word ascension I could offer is when you transcend all levels of time and space and you merge into source, God, before light, before sound, before geometry. To move into such states, your whole being has to be perfect devotional love. There's no other way because that energy is pure love. And if you're not pure love, there's no merging that can occur. Therefore, when you leave your body, if you're afraid, that's rule number one, not going to help you. When you want to be conditioned that when you start having these mystical out-of-body type experiences, these cosmic level experiences, you're not afraid. By the way, when we talk about cosmic consciousness, even though we talked about the experience of being as big or pretty much as big as the universe, that's the big, big, big stuff. But when you're out of your body, you could absolutely fly around this planet. You can be up looking back at the planet. I've been up to the moon looking back at the planet. I could go on and on because I was doing this like more times I can count. But just realize that, we're talking about the biggest stuff that could happen tonight, but there's tons of cool stuff in between, the most majestic. Meaning just like flying and go visiting your parents, flying and going seeing somebody. Just astral sex is beautiful when you're out of your body and you merge with another spiritual being. There's you can meet masters. I've seen angels and fairies. I mean, there's a whole world out, literally a whole world out there beyond this world. In A Course in Miracles, it says, beyond this world, there's a world I want. But you have to affirm it. Beyond this world, there's a world I want. If all you want is what's here in the physical plane, that's what keeps the reincarnation thing going. If you want moksha, liberation from samsara, you don't want to keep coming back, both eyes on source, both eyes on God. At the moment of bodily death, you're prepared. I'm not afraid of when this body dies at all. I don't need the suffering that might be there before it. But man, when this body is done, it's called Maha Samadhi. The yogis achieved Maha Samadhi. They've been doing Samadhi their whole life, or, as soon as they achieved it, they've been doing it for years, maybe decades. The moment you're close to bodily death, you just bloop, Samadhi, and it's the Maha, the great one, the last one, the last time you're here. That's moksha, that's liberation. That's when you're Jivana Mukta, fully liberated soul, because there's nothing here that binds you. A Course in Miracles says, I loose this world from all I thought it was. But every desire for stuff of this plane is fine, but it does keep you coming back here because you want it. You're going to get what you want, right? So if you want to be really wealthy, you'll make that happen. But what did Christ say? It's easier for a rich man to, a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get into heaven, something like that. Because not that you can't have money, but if money is your God, which it is for a lot of people, right? That's what you're focused on. The teachings say put both eyes and spirit in this space and let the love of your heart, not all your anger and fear, let the love rise up to here. So it's devotional love towards source. That's the formula in any spiritual tradition. Study the Hare Krishna movement. They're all about bhakti, devotional love of God, right? That's what draws the moth into the flame, right? Because you're devoted to love and light and peace and joy and bliss. You want to get out of your body in that vibration. Those who get out before that tend to have some negative experiences sometimes, like, negative entities and kind of hellish realms. I haven't experienced really any of that because I've been on the spiritual path my whole adult life, and then I start having out-of-body experiences. To get to stage 2, the vibrations, you need to keep your heart open, you need all your chakras open, and you'll start feeling this energy moving up and down the spine. And before an out-of-body experience, it's vibrating at this very high rate. I can't do it with my voice box, but this is inside. It literally feels like you're plugged into a wall sometimes. The energy is that strong. If you're wondering if you've ever felt this, you probably haven't, because when you wake up at night and your body's still kind of asleep and like, there's these pulses of light energy moving through you. It's light, it's sound. It does move in geometrical patterns, but that's another class as well. But anyway, you want this system really open. So hypnotic regressions, breath work, eye movement work, anything that clears your stuff, you want to do as you're preparing for out-of-body travel, which again is really practical. So I want to take on meditation on that, yet I don't want to leave the teaching side of this without talking about the highest level of ascension. So we talk about cosmic consciousness, but in that you're aware of form. It's slightly dualistic, actually. Even though you know you're one with it all, there's still, I am observing planets, I'm observing galaxies, I'm this big or this small. The deepest samadhi transcends all of that. And I've alluded to that samadhi has nothing to do with time and space, so you don't actually have to leave your body. I'll guide you tonight a bit more into this higher consciousness space. If you just focus there, here, now, at every moment, eventually time and space drop away and you're just aware of your own pure consciousness in a sea of consciousness. There's just a very subtle thought of I am. There's the awareness of your soul, and there's the infinite presence of consciousness. That's literally right here now. All right, so it would be misleading again to say you achieved something eventually. However, there's an experience that happens once you're deeply rooted in that consciousness. When you leave your body, if you've achieved that before bodily death, you don't need to, and again, nothing happens at death. Like death isn't what causes graduation to ascension, right? You have to achieve that now. So you practice meditation on that now. But when you leave your body, if you're deeply rooted in that state, you start ascending up through all the levels of creation. So first there's the physical plane. You literally feel it dropping, or my experience of this was, it drops away from awareness, similar to when you're ascending in cosmic consciousness, the earth drops away, but this is literally the entire physical plane drops. You move through the etheric plane, but this is like a quick ascent up through these levels of creation. So through the etheric plane, there's astral realms, but in the highest ascension, you're shooting through those realms. So basically all the more, you're going from more dense to more subtle. The more dense levels are dropping, the astral plane drops away. Eventually, we go through what are called mental and causal planes, but I can just say when that drops away so fast, the one thing you're noticing is this infinite outpouring of light that's coming out of source. So in the Bible, it says, in the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God, or maybe even simpler, in Genesis, it says, God said, let there be light. And every tradition basically has some idea of the source emanating vibration, emanating light and sound and mathematics, geometry, into the form that we see. So this is basically, instead of the idea of coming out, like when God says, let there be light and the whole universe happens, this is the return back in. To return back, again, meditate on your own consciousness right here now, because you've never left your source. You've never left that source. So it's kind of misleading to say there'll be a future experience you have when you ascend back to God. But again, enlightenment is a process and it's an experience. And I would say without the experience I'm alluding to now, which I haven't finished describing it yet, but it wouldn't just be the complete unfolding, or we talk about life mastery here, because I don't have, actually, I think we have a chart in our school. I'm not going to do the screen share now, though. It talks about different levels of experience, 49 levels based on the chakras, and a seventh chakra, seventh level experience where you ascend back to absolute source cannot happen in a body. You just cannot experience this in a body. So with that said, find your soul now. Time and space drop away more and more in meditation. because you're totally here now, deeply absorbed in yourself. When you leave your body in that place and you keep both eyes on source, all these lower levels drop. Eventually, this light is pouring out of source infinitely and out of one central point. It's called the Om point or the Bindu point. You see all the subatomic particles that end up making the whole universe. I ended up calling them my book, The Sacred Geometry Meditation. I call them the sparks of creation. I'm not really sure where I heard that, but in Sanskrit, there's words for atoms and subatomic particles. There's Anu, which is atom, and Par Anu, which are the subatomic particles beyond atoms. You experience this pouring out of source, and it is particles and waves, basically at the same time. So you could say that's entering in through the Big Bang, but that gets pseudoscientific. So I'm not going to try to blend that this is Big Bang theory. It really is the deepest I can share, the experience of ascension. You have ascended through every layer of creation, through the light, through the subatomic particles pouring out of that light, through that one point. Then you might, if you can visualize the singularity idea, because it kind of helps with the visual, all that light fades away, and what's left is pure consciousness, pure source. The only thing left at that moment is you as soul, just, I love you. You love God, whether you know it or not. Why? Because God is love, and you love love. You love peace. You love joy. You love bliss. You love the experience of oneness. You love communion with that energy. Whether you know it or not, you do. So when you're in your sane mind, you know you love love. When you're out of your body, it's the love of God, the moth to the flame. Again, it just pulls you in. So it's just an I love you, whether it's said like in English or any language, but eventually that sentiment of I love you dissolves into just love. The lover and the beloved become one, but they've always been one, just as you're one with God now. So to me, that's the deepest I can share of the ascension experience, because we hear about this in the New Age, but we hear about it as like the Earth's frequency is vibrating, our bodies are becoming made of not carbon but silica, and we're all going to ascend, and it's going to be this rapture. But they're just talking about bodies. I've never seen. There is definitely teachings on the rainbow body, where the body just Christ transfiguration, right, where the body just becomes light. But striving for that, the Zen masters like, what's the point, right? The thing's going to drop away anyway. So I'm not talking about trying to spiritualize your body to the point where it becomes pure light. Maybe that'll happen in a few 100,000 years for humanity. But right now, you don't take your body with you, basically. So you're not your body. You're not trying to enlighten your body. Like I said before, A Course in Miracles says the body's too dense to be enlightened, even though some Tibetan masters have supposedly achieved complete rainbow body or light body, where when the body dies, it just dissolves into pure light. 7 days later, there's nothing but fingernails and hair left. I mean, that's a real, pretty well valid, verified phenomena, but that's not really the goal, at least that's not what I'm sharing here tonight. So out-of-body experiences can become wondrous in their own way. Cosmic conscious is something to be aware of, but cosmic conscious, you're aware of all the form. The experience of ascension is beyond form, beyond time and space. From there, you experience the reverse, the energy coming back down and the manifestation into the universe and into your own body. But that's a whole nother discussion of what's called the order manifestation, how consciousness becomes everything that we're seeing here. Let me just finish up the out-of-body experience, 5 stages, because I mentioned those, and then I'll take in a meditation that can kind of incorporate samadhi meditation on consciousness, cosmic conscious, and ascension beyond the beyond. So to have these experiences for real, because they're not just visualizations at all. Body asleep, mind awake, number 1. Vibrational state, number 2. Very hard to teach you how to tap into them, but one tip, once you get your body to body asleep, mind awake, feel like you're reaching your hand, your astral hand, if you will, up here above your head and pull them down. Will the vibration, will life force energy into your body. Just a good thing to do, because this stuff is really hard to teach how to make happen, ask for help. Ask your spirit guides, ask your angels, however, ask your higher self, whatever you call those guys, those beings, ask for help, because I really can't tell you an exact technique, because it really involves a lot of purification of the energy system, the meridians, opening chakras, and being in a very high vibrational state, which is a lot of deep spiritual lifestyle practice. Beyond that, number three is the separation state, the breaking coincidence from the body. Just because the vibrations are there, if you try to sit up straight, like try to get out of your body might move with you because you're so used to moving with it. Better techniques are to roll out to your side. Once the vibrations are there, you'll know when they're strong enough, you'll know you can leave the body. It's very intuitive. It feels so natural. You might be scared, but it's going to feel familiar. Nothing to be afraid of, though. So once you feel the vibration strong, literally catapult yourself to the side, or you can do a backflip and flip your astral feet over your head. You kind of somersault backwards out of your body. You can rotate so your consciousness literally faces through the back of your head. That's a cool experience if you haven't had it. Usually you're facing forward through your bodily eyes, but when the vibrations are there, you can turn to look through the back of your head. Eventually you can see 360, but quite often that's when you're out of the body. But you're not, because remember, you're not a body. Your vision isn't only forward. Your vision can be 360 in all directions. So anyway, you want to separate from the body. You want to be prepared for that. But you know what to do at that moment. Stage 4 is traveling. And just a couple of tips for traveling. Just affirm, only beings of light and love are allowed in my space. I only encounter beautiful beings. What if you see another being in the room with you? Well, if you want to stop and talk to commune with this being, then no problem. There are unseen helpers and there are seen helpers. Sometimes you won't see them, but they are there. You'll feel them, like you'll literally, not just like energetically. Like, one of my first experiences, I was trying to leave my body, but I moved the body. The vibrations were there, but I went to move forward and the body moved. And another being right here to my right just said, no, not like that. And I felt its hands come up under me and pull me out of my body. So if they're helpful, trust them. If they're giving you a good message, trust them. I met Sai Baba out of my body. You can research who that is. And he's the one who said to me, why are you not seeking God? So if you encounter an ascended master, an angelic being, a great saint, I would just say, listen. If you're, enjoy. If you're meeting another kind of equal and there's this wonderful love, it's not against marriage or anything. It's like you can hug another human being, right? And you can feel love with another human being. It's not adulterous, right? It's just you can hug another human being and feel love. Out of your body, you merge into each other. You can call that astral sex, but then the word sex, kind of gets in the way there. But basically, there's this blissful merging that can happen for any two children of God who just share their being together. All relationships are meant to be holy. So I believe any child of God can experience that with any other child of God. Doesn't mean you're not loyal to your partner, in this life. So anyway, if you encounter beings out of the body, go as deep as you can with them, would be the suggestion. And if they're wise, awesome. But if you encounter negative beings, just come back to your body. If all you have to do is think body, and you'll probably come back. If you're not coming back and you're getting scared, you're like, body, get back to my body, but you still don't like what you're experiencing, just try to wiggle your big toe. It'll snap you back really fast. It's uncomfortable. You don't ever want to come back too fast. That's stage 5, the return. The main tip on the return to the body is don't panic, which is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Written big letters, don't panic, for those of you who get the reference. Don't panic. So coming back to the body should be done slowly, gently, consciously, like a hand slipping into a glove, like really mindfully. But if you need to get back quick, try to wiggle your big toe. It'll snap you back really fast. Your heart will probably be beating out of your chest. 1, because of snap back, but 2, because you just saw something scary. But my advice would be, once you get back, ask yourself why you encountered that, if there was something somewhat negative, because like attracts like, right? If you got anger and you get out of your body and there's some negative being there, it wasn't brought there by accident, right? There's law of attraction always happening. So yeah, if they're beautiful, beneficial beings, hang out with them. If they are kind of in the negative realm, then yeah, I would just get back to your body. There's no need for astral combat, just leave. I've never really had to deal with that kind of stuff though, because again, I've been doing enough spiritual work beforehand that I didn't have those kind of experience. I used to see a lot of scary things with the vibration phase. I did too when I was a kid. I would see what I called ghosts in the room, and there were people who had passed over who were in my bedroom looking at me, and yeah, it's scary. There's no doubt. Mm, that's scary, but I experienced that stuff before I had done a lot of spiritual practice. If you do enough yoga, meditation, purifying your diet, all that, you should be pretty okay with leaving the body. So stage 1, get body asleep, mind awake. Stage 2, learn how to open to the vibrations. Stage 3, learn how to separate so that the body doesn't move when you work to get out of it. Stage 4, travel and fly. Stage 4 tip, have a target destination already set. You don't have to know how to fly. It's very intuitive. You can put your arms out in front of you. If you have your astral arms, you can flap your arms. I've done that for no reason. You can use it like a parachute or umbrella if you're falling too fast. This is real, but it is your mind. It's not a dream, but you do take your mind with you, and your mind is a creative force. So if you want to have arms, you think arms, there's arms. You need a parachute if you're falling, visualize it. But the main tip, because you don't have to figure out how to fly, is that's very natural to you. Set a target destination for a person. If you can conceive of the divine, you have some relationship, especially like if you're Christian. If you're out of your body and you're Christian, call Christ. What are you doing? Why would you do anything else if you're Christian, you're out of your body? Call for Jesus, But I'm not saying everybody is wired that way. So if you're Hare Krishna, you get out of your body, you darn well better be chanting Hare Krishna. You focus on Krishna. That's the formula. Whatever you dwell upon is where you're basically going to go. Have that determined beforehand, but also remember, if you call out for the highest, you have to let go of all preconceived notions of what you think the highest is, because we've been very limited for quite a while in our little bodies, right? If you're going to ask God on God's terms, show me you, yeah, put on your seatbelt, because Kansas is going bye-bye, right? The whole physical world drops away if you're truly experiencing the divine beyond time and space. So, with all that said, let me take us on a meditation. And if there's any Q&A and discussion, we can go into it. So practical nature of this, I'm going to guide you one about kind of into your soul. That's valuable because you're pure peace. It's always good to know I'm always at peace because I am peace. But then we'll do a cosmic consciousness visualization. It doesn't mean you're leaving your body and having it for real. It is a visualization. But the beautiful thing is it helps to put things into perspective. So again, I invite you, as I alluded to earlier, think of one thing perhaps that might be bothering you. It can be kind of whatever you judge, small or big, but think of something, because once we're in a cosmic conscious kind of meditation, again, I'm going to say to you, what are you worrying about? But from that point of view, it's very interesting to see. Beyond that, we'll just imagine time and space drop away, and I'll just guide us into the idea of what it's beyond imagination. So you can only use guided imagery, you can only go so far, but guiding you into the idea that you are pure consciousness. You can't go wrong with putting your attention on pure consciousness. If there is such a thing as moksha or liberation, I can almost guarantee part of the formula is put your attention on who you truly are as spirit. One of our students in the hypnotherapy school is doing a Vipassana retreat now, and they tell them to scan their body and to focus on bodily sensations, and that's what you do basically for 10 days. And she said, I just did that. Can you give me another tip that's something else? I said, don't focus on the object of consciousness so much, focus on the consciousness itself. It's not what you're observing that matters, it's the observer that matters. You're the one looking through those eyeballs. What you see doesn't matter. Same in meditation. If you see an image of the Buddha, they say if you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him. The image doesn't matter because the image is temporary. It's just a thought form that arose with the picture. It'll fade away. It's not eternal. It's not what you're looking for. You're not looking for forms physically or mental forms. So no guided imagery will do it. What does it is you withdraw your attention back into consciousness. That's good enough. But when out-of-body experiences happen and you're rooted in that, they will be significantly more profound than if you're in your lower chakras. Okay, so let me take on a little meditation, then we can open up to Q&A. You open and close your eyes if you like. And I invite you to come into the present moment. If you're not here now, your body is here now. So just catch up to now, letting the future go. Again, spirituality is not just about what will happen to you, it's about who you are now. So find out where you are now. Your breathing is here now. So as you breathe in, be aware that you're breathing in. As you breathe out, be aware that you're breathing out. Most importantly, be aware that there is a you who's aware that the breath moves in and the breath moves out. Now start to imagine as if you have nostrils in your forehead. So when you breathe in, imagine the air moves in through your forehead. As you breathe out, imagine the air going out as if there's nostrils in your forehead. Put all of your attention on that space above and between your two physical eyes right here now. We're letting the external world drop away. We're turning the light around. Instead of shining the light of your consciousness out into the world through your senses, you're going to start withdrawing that light away from the world. Remember A Course in Miracles line? I loose this world from all I thought it was. Beyond this world, there is a world I want. And it is impossible to see two worlds. Putting your attention on spirit, resolving level confusion. You're not a body, you're a spiritual being. The easiest way to find you is move behind your eyeballs. Move between your ears. Trace your nose up into your forehead and keep going in and up. Pull away from your tongue in the sense of touch. If you notice a sensation, just let it go and feel like a balloon that was released to float in and up. Your eyes gently rolled up into your forehead. You're falling back into the conscious observer, the knower, the I am presence. This is a reminder of what you already know, that you exist, that you're aware, that you, like Buddha, are awake as Buddha. Honor that you already are this. You don't become spirit. You recognize it. You recognize or remember that you're spirit. Just by putting your attention on consciousness itself. If your mind wanders, just move back into that higher space. Now, while putting your attention in that higher space, imagine as if you can float above your body, as if you're floating on the ceiling, looking down at the room. See your body there in the chair or bed or couch. You're just visualizing this. Imagine seeing the floor or the carpet or the tile or the wood. Imagine looking down at the furniture in the room, and there's your body. And there's, your human challenges down there. Float even higher as if there's no roof on the house you're in, so you could see the whole floor plan. See perhaps the bedrooms, living room, kitchen. Imagine you're just floating above, looking down at the house. Float above so you can look down at the roof. Notice what's on the roof, the chimney, maybe an old antenna. Is it shingles or metal? Is it flat or pitched? Float above and look at the land surrounding this home or place your body's in. Notice the trees, or any vehicles, or driveway, or parking lot. Notice any outdoor lights. Notice any sources of water, swimming pools, lakes. Float higher above the neighborhood. Imagine looking down, seeing the entire area your house is in. Are there other homes nearby? Notice there's other people in these other homes. So you don't forget, you're not here alone. And keep going higher, you're looking down at the entire city now. Take your time to really think about this city. Businesses, homes, roads. Imagine just floating above the entire city that your body is in. Go even higher and look at the county. Now you're seeing lots of cities, roads, vehicles, nature, plants, trees, wildlife, lakes, rivers. Take your time, go even higher, look at the entire state. As if you're way out floating in space, like where a satellite would be. You're looking down, you can see the entire state. Go even higher and look down at the entire continent. And notice the oceans on either side. Keep floating out now till you're looking back at the earth as if you're sitting on the moon. See that beautiful blue marble there? You're the observer of the earth. Float out beyond the moon so you can see the moon rotating around the earth. And go even higher till you can start to see this solar system. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. Keep going further out. Seeing Uranus and Saturn and Jupiter. Out to where Pluto is. And all these other large rocky bodies. Just keep floating out. Until you can look back at the entire solar system where this one medium-aged, medium-sized star is surrounded by all these planets and other rocks. But keep going further out now so that this one solar system, this one star, is one of billions and billions of stars in what we call the Milky Way galaxy. Float out even further so you can see the Milky Way. Notice how the sun is just one speck of light. Can't even see the earth, drowned out in spiraling arms of light. In the very center is this enormous black hole sucking up stars left and right. But keep floating further out, and you'll see that this one Milky Way galaxy is one of billions and billions of galaxies, each with billions and billions of stars. See if you can feel like you're becoming the space that the universe is contained within. Imagine being the observer of the universe with all the galaxies, all the planets. Enormous gas clouds, light years wide, collapsing upon gravity, making stars and star nurseries that explode out into elements, and you're just watching all of this. Again, from this higher place, ask yourself, while you watch a black hole swallow up a galaxy, what are you worrying about? Notice it's all temporary, changing, fleeting, impermanent. So instead of focusing on the form, the universal form, put your attention on the consciousness itself, as if you're ascending now higher. Imagine flying, floating, turning on light speed, ascending higher and higher until the physical plane drops away. You'll sense other levels, the etheric plane dropping beneath you, up through the astral levels, the heavenly realms dropping away beneath you. Imagine gazing up towards one infinite light pouring out of one central source. As a being of light, you're flying up into this light, becoming this light, merging into this light until even the light starts to fade. And there's just an infinite sea of consciousness, an infinite sea of love, one source beyond time and space, and sensing your oneness with this source. Pure peace, pure love, pure joy, and pure bliss. There's no name or form. There's no time or space. It's absolute bliss consciousness. And thou art that. It's pure silence and pure stillness. Your mind obliterated in this space. No thoughts. Infinitely satisfying, completely fulfilled. From this, you do have a thought again, so you might just think in your mind now, I am. I am. Can you sense a drop of you? Jivatma, the individualized essence of soul. I am. Asmita, I exist. Now remember to think the thoughts you think with your source. I am love. I am light. I am a spiritual being who's going to have a human experience. As you think I am light and I'm going to have a human experience, imagine an astral body forms around you, a body of pure light, with arms and legs that are healthy and vibrant and radiant, with chakras that are pulsing open and alive, with meridians filled with life force. And you think, I am going to have a beautiful human experience. I'm here with a mission. I'm coming back to Earth with a purpose. I'm coming back to Earth to be truly helpful, to represent the light that sent me. I'm coming back to Earth mature, ready to be of service, ready to fulfill my reason for being here. And as you do, imagine floating back in through the universe, floating back in towards the Milky Way galaxy. Imagine by choice you're choosing to come back to the Earth with compassion, to be of loving service, flying in through the spiraling arms towards the thing we call the sun, zoning in on the Earth, taking a moment to pause as if you're sitting on the moon looking back at the Earth. And again, coming back here to be of service, you float in towards the continent that your body is on. Notice the oceans, whales, dolphins coming in towards the land. You start to notice forests and wildlife, mountains and rivers and streams, until you're zoning in your state, down towards your county, down towards the city, down towards your neighborhood, down towards wherever your body is in the house or building. And imagine floating behind your body, looking at your body sitting there in time and space. I am not a body. I am free. I am still as I was created. And with the awareness that you're a spiritual being having a human experience, feel like you're slipping back into awareness of your body, but right behind your head. Like you're not actually in the body, you're observing the body. Find what we call the seat of the soul with the crown chakra. You're the observer. You're the witness. You're the knower. You're the I am, the spiritual being having the human experience. You can sense your arms and legs beneath you, but you might feel like you're not fully in them yet. It's wise quite often to be fully in them. So if you feel like you want to slip back into your body like a hand slipping into a glove, you can do that. Or if you like to play with the idea that I'm just observing this body, I'm not actually in it, you can do that as well. If you want to start having out-of-body experiences, stay in that higher space. If you want to feel more grounded, feel your feet on the earth, breathe below your navel. You can choose to come fully back into the body, but the truth is, you don't have to, just whatever feels right in any given moment. I'll count from 1 to 5 to help you to transition back to your full and regular waking consciousness. Notice, though, that something is different. You're more cosmically aware. And before you open your eyes, while you might not still see the whole universe, I encourage you to remember it. Remember Mars right now. Remember Jupiter. Remember the sun. Remember the moon. Remember all those stars. You can remain cosmically conscious even as you're transitioning out of a formal meditation. So I'll count from 1 to 5. When I get to 5, see if you can be more cosmically aware. just experiencing a universe. I'm a spiritual being who is absolutely transcendent to what I'm observing. And number one, coming back awareness more and more to the here and now, however you do that. Number two, taking your time to breathe and move and stretch. Three, remembering who you truly are. And whenever you're not feeling well, just ask yourself, what am I forgetting right now? One, two, three, four, and when you're ready, only when you're ready. And number five, remembering who you are. Eyes open when you're ready. Remembering if you're ever not feeling well, what am I forgetting right now? All right, so journey through the cosmos and back. So that was done, through guided imagery visualization, but that comes from real experiences that great masters have had. I've had glimpses of this, so I feel qualified to talk about it humbly, but really study the materials that are out there. If you've never read Autobiography of a Yogi and you want to open your mind to this stuff, absolutely. The Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is beautiful. The writings of Meher Baba, like you can go on and on and on. Every tradition has great saints and sages that have taken the steep plunge, and I'm honored to have been sharing this with you in our Life Mastery course. Any questions or sharing before I wrap it up for the evening? Carol said, I've been crying. Wow, good. Good. I think that's what Yogananda said in that samadhi poem. Off puff tears of joy, something like that, he said. Beautiful. All right, we'll start to wrap it up.
I
But
just
once
asked,
again, any questions
what's
you're sharing?
what's the fifth stage? You said the fourth one was traveling.
Hmm. The
What's
fifth is to return.
is pardon?
The fifth is the return.
Oh, the return. Okay.
Yeah,
And
return back to your body. And the tip there is program yourself to come back slowly, consciously, safe, gently, because snapback is really intense for your heart. Is there something else there?
what if the body does? What if you don't want to come back? That ever
Well,
happen?
it'll never happen. You will come back. It's impossible. You're gonna feel like a gravitational pull from the body. They talk about the silver cord. I've never seen that. I've read tons of books on this. Most people never see it, and the ones who have say, your mind creates your reality when you're out there. So if you visualize, if you think you have a silver cord, you will. But they say the silver cord is what attaches you to your body. And if it got cut, which is just, kind of cute metaphysics, just like story, fantasy, comic book stuff, then you would die. But there's no such thing that I'm aware of. So, from my experience, and again, reading a lot of other authors on this, all I can tell you is you will feel your body pulling you back and you won't be able to resist it at some time. Um, so, I would say stay out as long as you can. Because at some point you're going to feel the pull to come back in, even if you don't want to. This happens with near-death experiences all the time. People die like all the time. It happens a lot these days because we have really good medicine that get people back. There's millions, literally millions of Americans who have said they've had near-death experiences, and all of them, by default, all of them were told one way or another, you have to come back. You're not done yet. That's why they came back to report it, because they were like at heaven's gate, like not necessarily through, but they were like right ready to be in the light in the astral realm with all other beautiful beings. But somebody's there going, okay, here's some messages for you, and it's just not your time yet. Go back. So I've never had a near-death experience because there's no need to kill your body to actually be able to leave it. So I've just learned to do it through deep meditation. But yeah, I could definitely tell you when you're out, you will feel that pull, and just surrender to it when it happens, but come back slowly so it's not abrupt. So,
But could you be gone for hours?
yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. You can go on for days technically, but for me, I could just say hours. I've never gone like past the next morning, like where I'm like, holy crap, like a whole day just passed. But I can tell you that, and I can't claim to be the most advanced person in the world, right? Or who's ever lived. So I can tell you that there are yogis who they teach if you're out of your body for 7 days, the body will die. So if you can stay out for 7 days, you should be worried. But if not, yeah, you have the body, it'll pull you back because you're gonna have to urinate or your arm is asleep. You've been resting in a certain position and you're like, wow, my arm hurts and I'm out of my body. You'll feel it. It'll pull you back in, or having to pee, or the alarm will go off, or something will happen in the house and you'll come back.
Thank
Um, yeah, sure. Great. Carol said, I cannot believe I only know this now at 76. Well,
you.
good though, right? Good to catch on. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you have your your own path there, Carol, in your own unique way. But yeah, some of these teachings you don't necessarily hear about that much. So I'm honored to be sharing. You said, thank you, thank you, thank you. Did you say you have a book about this? Yes, my primary book that covers these topics is called the Anahat Meditation System. It's a novel that I wrote when I was, I think, about 33 years old or so. So I can tell you, like, all my mystical experiences up to that point are basically in that book because a lot, it's fiction, but the experiences of the lead character are not fiction. They're actual my real experiences, but they're set in a monastery that doesn't actually exist. It's written in the 1800s, as fiction. So that's kind of fiction, but all the experiences are mine. And yeah, there's teachings in there on how to have it. My book, The Sacred Geometry of Meditation, has a section on out of body travel, but not necessarily stories about it. And one of the best techniques to get out of your body, like I said earlier, is just read the stories. So yeah, my book, The Sacred Geometry Meditation, talks about it. And my book, The Anahat Meditation System, has a lot of my experiences in it. I think my Facilitating Enlightenment book touches upon it as well. Because that's kind of like our school's trajectory and the idea of facilitating enlightenment, bringing people to really deep states. If you want to read other authors, Robert Monroe is the person to look into. The Monroe Institute of Applied Sciences can absolutely teach you how to have out-of-body experiences. And then his books, his three main books are awesome. William Bullman is a really good author in the field. Sylvian Muldoon. He didn't write the book, but Harewood Carrington co-authored it with him. So that's called The Projection of the Astral Body by Sylvian Muldoon and Harewood Carrington. So yeah, there's a lot of books on it, but yeah, two of my books cover it. Awesome. Thanks, Carol. All right. Anything else before I wrap it up? When will this meeting be available for replay? In about 24 hours. Elise said, Anahat meditation system is a great way to achieve out of body. Briefly, before I wrap it up, Anahat meditation deals with sacred geometry, as Lily has in her background. The ascending triangle is what we've been talking about tonight. I got pretty good at that, and it made me very dysfunctional because I wasn't really in my body for years. The descending triangle is about coming back in. I never knew how to balance both until the Anahat meditation system came to me. So yes, it can help to facilitate ascension, but it also helps to facilitate being fully here, grounded, functional as a human being with a fully open heart. So yeah, to me, Anahat meditation does embody pretty much all these teachings, but even more thorough because it helps a lot of other things too, but it helps you to be more grounded here and now. Thank you, Lily. Dan said, thank you for this. I spent about 25 years trying to stop these things from happening. Don't think I actually left my body, but a lot of glimpses of the ox were freaking me out. Okay, sure. So, Course in Miracles says fear is unjustified in any form. The last thing you need, I mean, I know it kind of is on the Bible, fear of God, but really that formula is not the formula because God is love. So there's nothing to be afraid of because you're putting both eyes on love. And the only way to merge into love is love. Fear and love never can be reconciled. So yeah, I would just encourage you to affirm I'm an immortal, eternal being. Nothing can hurt me. In the Bhagavad Gita, it says, weapons cannot cut you, water cannot wet you, wind cannot wither you. You cannot be cut or burned. You cannot be wet or withered. Just, if you honor this being, can't ever be hurt. You have nothing to be afraid of. Ever, really. I'm not saying I live there all the time, but yeah, the teaching is you're immortal, eternal spirit. You're pure love. Nothing can ever hurt you or change you or touch you. So go have fun, basically. Good. Awesome. All right, let me type in there, Diane. I'll give you a moment. Beautiful, thank you. All right, great. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks. We've got 2 more of these classes scheduled, and I'll look forward to connecting with you then. Good night, all. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night.
Awesome. Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Carol. Thanks, Enid. Good night.